Hello, Bill English, Prime Minister here. Sorry we can't be with you. Can I just thank you for the commitment that you make to your families and communities and to your church? Because a church is a way of bringing people together, bringing out the best of them, giving them an anchor and giving them support when they need it. Mary and I are part of our own rich religious tradition, and we try to pass that on to our children because we'd like them to have the same riches as you have. When I'm not involved in politics, I try to get some exercise. I've got a lot of domestic duties to perform as well, but also spend time with my family, my own 6 children, and Mary, of course, but also our wider families, because we both have quite large families, and we enjoy the opportunity to keep up with them. And as I travel around as a politician, actually, I get the opportunity sometimes to catch up with brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, their children. It gives me a great expanded view of how people live in New Zealand, keeps you anchored. I'm always listening. Even the people who disagree with you are always telling you something that you can learn from or should listen to. Of course, I have people around me, my political colleagues, who I listen to because we've been a successful team. We've worked together very well. My Deputy Paula Bennett, Finance Minister Stephen Joyce, I've known them for well over a decade under the pressure of politics, trust their judgments and listen to them. And then apart from that, actually my own family, who as they get older have a few more, slightly more objective political views. We've had a few gut-wrenching situations, just seeing the damage in the Christchurch earthquake and realising what a huge job that was going to be for people to be able to put their lives back together again. But then the satisfaction of seeing them do it. And also just hearing the news about the Lehman's crash in 2008, which pushed New Zealand further into recession, and then setting about the task of getting us out of the hole, working with so many people who've successfully helped us with that, and building the government back to a strong position in the country while protecting our most vulnerable on the way through. We thought that was vital, and I'm proud of the way that we've now got strong government's books, a strong economy, but the most vulnerable didn't pay a price in achieving that, as they often do and still are in other countries who aren't doing so well. Part of public life is that you're always listening and adjusting, this balance between principle and pragmatism and what you can actually get to happen. But looking back, I used to be quite suspicious about Māori aspirations. Changed my view on that. I think getting the treaty settlements in place, enabling Māori to look ahead on the basis of enterprise and rebuilding families is by far more positive view to take about New Zealand. I think, like most Pākehās, I'm also much more accepting and welcoming of the diversity of our community. In my case, partly because I'm married into migrant families, Italian and Samoan, but more generally welcome the diversity. Where the world I was brought up in, it probably wasn't as welcome as I see it now. Actually, I know this sounds a bit political, but I'm a bit disappointed in the other parties. In opposition, it is a chance to refresh your thinking, but the other parties haven't really done that. Where I think I have found myself agreeing with them is the Greens, actually, who invented the emissions trading system 10 years ago for dealing with climate change, and I didn't support it initially, realised it was a good scheme, now support it. We also did a bit of work with them early on about predator-free New Zealand, but we've now converted that into predator-free 2050, which is an idea that engages so many communities around New Zealand in protecting our endangered species and our bird life. So you can always get good ideas from someone else. What gets me out of bed each day is the ability to use politics to change lives. You can change the way an economy works. If you succeed in that, then you can change what happens for people, particularly those who most need support. You can help businesses thrive, and I've just visited another 2 or 3 today, businesses that are growing, going well, supplying incomes, jobs, generating real energy in their communities. And then we get the opportunity for those people whose lives are very difficult and challenging. And if government does its job well, we can change those lives. There's plenty more of that to do. So it's not just about getting out of bed this morning. I want to keep doing it. That's why we're fighting an election campaign. The thing I think most proud of is, as a finance minister, helping government get back to surplus with minimal impact on the community at large and those who are most dependent on government. And look, there's any other number of things that I feel satisfied about, but what's important is that they're seen as useful to the public. I'm also proud to be part of a cohesive team of politicians. It's the happiest team I've worked in. Doesn't spend any time on internal negativity, just solving problems, getting on, doing things for New Zealanders that matter to them, and I'd like to be able to keep doing that because it's satisfying and enjoyable. I think it's the opportunity to sustain this economic success and really lift our horizons. You know, it's possible now, if we can sustain this success, to see, you know, the roads and houses built that we need for a strong, growing population and growing economy on a scale we haven't really thought of before. It's also possible to attack some of our most difficult social problems and change them. You know, on 1 April next year, we will reduce child poverty in New Zealand by the international measure by 30%. Child poverty will drop by 30%. If we can keep this economy strong, then we can do that again in 2 or 3 years' time. And wouldn't it be great to deal with another lot of the remaining issues to do with children on low incomes, poor housing, poor health, and long-term welfare? Well, we've got the toolkit and the will to do that. I don't believe in politicians forcing a legacy on the public. The public will decide. Politics is a job of service to the public. I would hope, though, that New Zealand can be a proud and confident country where everyone gets the opportunity to realise their aspirations, whether they're the most successful entrepreneur or someone who's been on a benefit for 20 years and with some support can find a job, because often that act of quiet courage and aspiration makes just as big a difference in the long run. New Zealand's doing well, and people, I think, can reflect on how we're going to keep that going, because if we can build the roads and the houses and the water pipes that we need to be a growing economy that provides jobs, but if we can also spread the benefits of that across our community, we can make some real change. So I think people need to consider how we can stay on this track that's making us a proud and confident country, and one where we can address some of the longer term issues that would make this country even better. The best thing you can do is to show leadership and commitment in your families and in your businesses. No country can be better than the tone you set in your commitment to your workplace, to your relationships, to raising children, to carrying out your vocation, whatever that is. MPs, of course, can always benefit from advice and from support in addition to the vote, but they can't be where you are, and government can't buy what you can give. Thank you for the opportunity to answer your questions. But more importantly, thank you for what you do for New Zealand. With your commitment to your families, your workplaces, and your church, you're making it a better country.